Welcome to the Monday reading sessions. I'm CJ Southworth, and this week we're going to be focusing on a book called Slamming Open the Door. That was written by Kathleen Sheeder Bonanno. This is the winner of the 2008 Beatrice Hawley Award. And this was Bonanno's first book of poetry. And unfortunately, so far, it's her last book of poetry. She passed away in 2017 after a battle with cancer. And so she was working on several other projects at the time, according to some interviews that have come out, but I'm not sure if we'll see anything else from her. But this is a brilliant book. It's probably my favorite book of poetry of all. And it tells the story of the year following the murder of her daughter by her daughter's ex-boyfriend. And so the poems kind of run that whole gamut of the process of dealing with grief, dealing with family, dealing with the criminal justice system, going through that process of the trial, and that type of thing. And it's not a long book. It's actually fairly short. It's 61 pages long, but it's a brilliant read. When I bought it, I started reading it that night, and I was exhausted, and I still read the whole book in one sitting. And I've read it several times over. I've taught it in some of my classes. My students tend to love it as well too. And so today we're going to share some of the poems from this, and hopefully you'll enjoy them as well. So the first poem we're going to start with is called Death Barged In. Death barged in his great Russian coat, slamming open the door with an unpardonable bang, and he has been here ever since. He changes everything, rearranges the furniture. His hand hovers by the phone. He will answer now, he says. He will be the answer. Tonight, he sits down to dinner at the head of the table as we eat, mute. Later, he climbs into bed between us. Even as I sit here, he stands behind me, clamping two colossal hands on my shoulders and bends down and whispers to my neck, "From now on, you write about me." And this next poem is called How to Find Out. After you call her again and again on her home phone, and your intention like a mouse in a snake's belly swells the wire as it runs from one pole to another, and still she doesn't answer. After you call her on her cell phone and summon a satellite network to assist to bounce your voice from your house to a floating point in space to her house, and still she doesn't answer. After you leave many messages, and your husband leaves messages, and your sister leaves messages, and anxiety flits over and around you, ignore it. She is an adult now. Wait a day. First, leave a final message. We are going to drive up there right now, young lady, if you don't call us back in 15 minutes. And then start driving. In a hard rain, you and Dave, and when you get to Skipback, your cell phone will ring and someone will say she was just spotted working her nursing shift on the hospital floor. Laugh and turn the car around then, a ton of relief barreling down Route 73. When you get home, call the hospital just to make sure. Her supervisor will say, no, she's not here. She hasn't shown up for work in 2 days. This is the time for your throat to thicken, for your fingers to get rubbery, for you to call the police and say, please, please go to her apartment, and if it's locked, please knock down the door. Now you and your husband and sister and her husband must jump into his car and drive so fast you might crash. Hold your husband's hand hard, but do not look at him. Do not look him in the eyes until one of you says, Jesus, I have to go to the bathroom. And all four of you run into a diner somewhere. And as the patrons look up, charge into the restroom and pee hard so you don't wet your clothes later. And take a moment to dry heave a little into the toilet, but not too much. There's no time. Pull up onto her street. Jump out of the moving car as your brother-in-law parks it. Run past police cars, ambulance, all the silent people sitting on curbs, gathered on porches, their arms folded, waiting for you, the parents, to arrive. The chief of police, poised behind the yellow tape, will spread his long arms to you, his palms outward. This is it, your very own Annunciation. Try to be thoughtful. Don't make the poor man say it. See how human he is. He has children of his own. It is your job to ask, is she dead? And he will nod and say yes. And now he can never not nod. And now he can never say no. And now he can never not say yes. This next poem is called Hearsay. Hearsay is inadmissible. Hearsay is what she told me on the phone the night before she died. Hearsay is how I know he did it. She said she slept with him. She said she broke up with him. She said he stole her social security number to get a credit card to buy motorcycle parts, that he was a phlebotomist and could call up her data on the hospital computer. She said she called his supervisor to report him for identity theft. She said she thought he made a copy of her key, that she would call her landlord to have her locks changed. She said, okay, Mom, okay, I won't sleep here tonight. I promise. Sticks and Stones. To you who killed my daughter, run, run, hide. Tell your mother to thread the needle made of bone. It is her time now to sew the shroud. The men are coming with sticks and stones and whetted spears to do what needs doing. It's not all so dire. There are moments of humor in this, as there are when any of us go through sort of a process of grief. And I think those moments catch us off guard sometimes, and sometimes they make us feel sort of inappropriate too, because in the middle of all this sadness, we have sort of these moments that are slightly humorous. And we don't always know what to do with humor at that point, but this is called What Not to Say. Don't say that you choked on a chicken bone once and then make the sound and say, you bet that's how she felt. Don't ask in horror why we cremated her. And when I stand in the receiving line like Jackie Kennedy without the pillbox hat, if Jackie were fat and had taken enough Klonopin to still an ox, and you whisper, I think of you every day. Don't finish with, because I've been going to Weight Watchers on Tuesdays and wonder if you want to go too. Pre-trial hearing, he pleads not guilty. Poor man, you are clutching at each slender wrong ever done to you by anyone. Each tiny outrage, a pale, reedy stalk of grass jutting from the bank. But the truth tugs hard at your feet, doesn't it? And it threatens to pull you down into the vast lake of your own undoing. Let go, my friend. Let go and take the long tour under. See on the bottom a woman, young, her brown hair undulating in the water, her eyes open, but wait. See the telephone cord wrapped around her neck 3 times and tied into a knot. Look how the little ends of the cord wave to you. And this is the final poem I'm going to share from the book. It's called Swooping. My sister says maybe John Early will try to run from the courtroom, and Detective Joseph Morano, who should have his own TV show, will pull out his gun and shoot him and then swoop her into his arms. There will be no swooping, I say, unamused. Think of your husband. But I am thinking of mine, who says that I can have anything I want that might please me. And I say, okay, I want to have an affair, or I want a teacup chihuahua. And my husband says, yes, all right, maybe the affair, because dogs are a lot of work. So the book is called Slamming Open the Door, and it's by Kathleen Sheeder Bonanno. And as I said, it is a gorgeous book. It just has so much in it. And it really takes you through that whole process. And I know I don't know if I can do it justice with just a few poems from it, but I want you to hopefully go out and find the book yourself and get the full experience of it. It really is a brilliant book. And it's something that everyone should check out. If you look in the description for this video, you'll see a link to where to buy it on Amazon, but you should be able to get it anywhere books are sold. Thank you for joining me this week, and I look forward to next week's episode, Monday nights here on YouTube. Thank you.